Welcome to Pacific Northwest Ballet's 2006-2007 Season Overview podcast. Today we'll be talking with Artistic Director Peter Boal about what to look forward to this season at Pacific Northwest Ballet. Peter, can you tell me about the process of selecting a season?
Well, I think selecting a season is such a primary part of an artistic director's job. So many factors to take into consideration. One, the dancers that you have, the roles that they're suited to. One, the audience and what they're ready for, what they've seen in the past, what they're hungry for. Also things that people may not consider, having a satisfying season for the orchestra, having a satisfying season for your production shop, your costume shop, all these different reasons, and some incentives, some things that people are going to be very excited, they'll recognize the names, they'll want to buy tickets for. Others perhaps things they've never heard of, something about the unknown that an audience may want to take a chance on.
Yes, and you've selected 20 new works for next season. Where did you find them all?
I draw a lot from past experience that I had. I had a small company, Peter Boal and Company. I think over the course of about 3 years, we commissioned about 8 works and worked with about 15 different choreographers for that company. Drawing a lot from those choreographers. One of them is Victor Quijada. We commissioned a work for him, and now Pacific Northwest Ballet is commissioning a work from Victor. Also having worked with Twyla Tharp and Nacho Duato and William Forsythe for that company. And of course I have the history of having danced for many years with New York City Ballet, working under Jerome Robbins, working on many ballets by George Balanchine, and exposure to choreographers like Ulysses Dove. So I'm drawing from all those parts of the past, and sometimes performances that I have seen in New York, but also really all over the world. I'm constantly looking for choreography that I think is exciting and worth taking a look at.
What are you most excited to see this season of those works?
I'm excited about a couple of things. Fancy Free is a familiar work to me, and it's not a familiar work to Seattle, and I'm very excited to see the effect that work has on our audience. Interestingly, one of the original ballerina roles in Fancy Free was Janet Reed, who is our founding director of the Pacific Northwest Ballet School. The ballet was choreographed in the 1940s and has no dust on it. It's just as exciting today as it was when it originally premiered. So I'm excited to see some of the tried and true favorites, but also to see the unknown works like the Quijada work. I'm so excited. This man is so committed and knows his very original vocabulary, very original take on music. Dancers are having a terrific time in the studio working with him. I think they've never been this sore, but I think the result is going to be pretty exciting.
So what are the dancers saying to you about this season and about that work in particular?
Victor had a very open process to see which dancers he would work with. A lot of them were very excited to work, and I think there's a sense of privilege, in a sense, those that have been selected to work with him. Again, that big sense of the unknown that they're eager to delve into. But I think in general, the dancers see this season. I mean, we have so many works going this season. A lot of the works are going to only be able to have one cast. So I think the dancers will have a certain ownership of that work. They will be the only ones dancing the Merce Cunningham work. They will be the only one doing the Trisha Brown work. So there's so much to do for everyone. Everyone's going to be very busy. And I think none of us really have our arms wrapped around the magnitude of this season, but the excitement is everywhere.
So for an audience member who's just trying out PNB, maybe they've been to one Nutcracker or one Swan Lake or one new thing last season, what would you say to them about this season and what they should step into or embrace?
Well, our first advice is subscribe for life, but our second advice is, I think Rep 1 is a really well-balanced program. It has a contemporary edge, within the middle somewhat elevated, a great work that sort of exploded onto the dance scene with the Paris Opera in the late 80s. Really taking that classical vocabulary and just manipulating, playing with, fun, and everything that you thought ballet was, not necessarily in this piece. Fancy Free, terrific entertainment, and theme and variations, pure classical. And I think if people aren't familiar with the ballet, Rep 1 is a great departure point. Celebrate Seattle Festival. There's such an education there, representing 12 different choreographers and so many options too. I mean, you can come to the ballet 4 different times, see a different program every time, all in the span of 8 days.
So what are some good ballets for the uninitiated audience members or for people looking to bring their children?
You know, one thing that we started last year, and it's been very popular, these $5 Fridays, and there's information about that on our website. But we initially thought that this would be a gathering for young adults, college students that couldn't afford more expensive tickets. And we found that it's a place that people are bringing their kids, and it's been great. The kids sit on the floor right close to the dancers. The kids, at the end, they're all raising their hands and asking questions. And turns out that's a perfect introduction. If you can get a ticket, they're hard to get, but a perfect introduction to what the ballet's like and to see an insider's point of view in the studio. The other things that I would recommend for families, for children in particular, Swan Lake is a beautiful story, a familiar story to anybody that knows about ballet, and we have a magnificent production too that people should really catch. The other thing that we're starting this year is a special performance just for children, and that's a production Bruce Wells is choreographing of Hansel and Gretel, with terrific sets and designs, and students of our school will be performing in that. And we have a terrific cameo appearance in that with Ariana Lalone, so you'll learn more about that as we move towards March. And you cannot miss the Nutcracker. It's just the perfect thing to bring a family to bring the grandparents to. Aside from the kids being delighted in the production, you can see them at intermission, you can see how thrilling it is for them, and we take great care of them at intermission too. There's people out there with arts and crafts and cookies and the works, so we have some happy families in that audience.
And it is an ambitious season. What do you hope to have accomplished at the end of it in June of '07?
Well, one thing, Ken Stoll and Francie Russell did such a great job of bringing other choreographers in, but I think we're repeating the works of Twyla Tharp. We're bringing a second work of Twyla Tharp in, we're bringing a third and fourth work of Jerome Robbins in, and a second work of Ulysses Stubb. My hope is that our public, they know the name of George Balanchine so well, but I want them to know the name of Balanchine, the name of Robbins, the name of Duato, the name of Quijada. I want them to build these collections of choreographers' work and to say, I remember Quijada's last work for PNB, and this one is different in this way and that way. So building that education, that's your dream audience, one that feels they own and they have an education and a stake in what the company is doing.
Well, thank you, Peter. That's all for now. Thanks for listening to our podcast, and we look forward to seeing you at Pacific Northwest Ballet. For more information, visit us online at pnb.org.